Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause for Shweta Bajpai from Meta and, of course, Anupama Chopra from Film Companion, Mami, and how many more projects are you working on, Anupama?
Too many.
All right, guys, we are here to discuss the next 10 years or the next decade, or in general, what's next in the world of entertainment and consumption. And I want to begin by asking the obvious, right, which is the explosion of short video. I want to start with you, Shweta. What has that been like as a platform? You guys have obviously adapted to it. What are some surprising trends in short video that you guys have seen? And then I'll do a follow-up for Anupama right after, please.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting question. If you think about 3 years back, Tanmay, there was no short form. Everyone was watching long form videos. They were actually going to something called Facebook Watch, watching long songs, trailers, and then the word changed somehow 3 years back. I think it had a lot to do with COVID, where people had a lot of free time. So there was a lot of screen time that was happening, but nobody really wanted to do preachy, longer form storytelling. So that attention shifting, people still wanted snackable content, but they wanted it in a form where they did not have to dedicate an appointment to view it. I think that was the big tailwind that helped us. At this point in time, globally, there are about 40 billion reels that get created every day.
Billion?
Billion, globally. Most of it is user-generated. It's not brands or companies creating reels. It's actually people like you and me. And they come from all across the world. It could be somebody sitting in a rural part of India creating a vernacular reel about how they're cooking a dish, or it could be a content creator like you. I need to see you more on reels, but talking about,
it in there.
I should make more reels.
Yeah, so I think it's been a phenomena that's taken us by surprise. How we've changed as a platform in order to cater to that is, first of all, making sure that the reels that you see are informed by what the machine knows about you. So my reel feed will look very different from yours, will look very different from Anupama. My children, for example, prefer to watch reels with my husband because they're supposed to be more funny. My reels are all about fashion and food. So clearly the machine is extremely intelligent, down to the point of a segment of one, at guessing what your behavior is and how it informs your watching habits. That's the reason why it's so addictive, it's so sticky, and it's why you enjoy going back to it again and again.
Anu, you've donned so many hats, right? Like, first, let's look at your journalism. You began as a journalist. You started off writing probably the most purest form of reporting and expression. How do you feel about, because actually short videos where all news breaks, everything is, the last 4 days we've all kept up with Jamnagar, which has been the news for the last 4 days through short video. What are you noticing first from a journalist side, and you actually also don a creator's hat now, which is you're both, not only consuming, but you're also creating. And the third, how has this affected the film fraternity? You interact a lot with directors. In the last decade or so, because of lower attention spans, are they rethinking the way they're making content? It's just a broad question. Please feel free to address any part of it.
I'm not sure that they're rethinking content, Tanmay, because, the last film I saw was Dune 2, which was 166 minutes, like a little less than 3 hours. And in my, in the last 2 years, I've just seen directors tell longer and longer stories. I mean, Killers of the Flower Moon is like 3.5 hours long. So I'm not sure that that's happening. But in terms of optics, marketing, publicity, it is all now shorts, reels. Instagram is really kind of insanely dominant within the film industry, almost to a point where it's concerning, because I keep hearing about actors getting cast because they have bigger Instagram.
Is that a thing?
It is a thing. It is a thing. And that's not what you want. As long as we use these as tools that finally serve the story. But the minute you start kind of making decisions based on this, In fact, Janvi Kapoor said this to me. She has, I don't know, millions and millions of followers on Instagram. And she said, the truth is, if all of those followers had gone to see Millie, it would have been a hit. So these are two separate things and we have to treat them as such.
All right, okay. Let's talk about the next wave, right? Which is going to be immersive content. I heard the CEO of NVIDIA say recently that we're now at a level where we can create worlds as we think it because compute is getting cheaper and cheaper. Where does that leave platforms like Meta? Like how is Meta thinking about immersive content?
Yeah, so our foothold in immersive content obviously starts with Metaverse, Tanmay. For us, Metaverse starts with as simple a phenomena as filters, which is what you use on Instagram. You can use a beauty filter, you can use a movie-inspired filter to put yourself in the same universe as the actor and actress inhabit within the movie. For us, immersion also could be as advanced as a Quest 3, and I know the device hasn't reached as many people, the use cases are still limited to gaming, but we do believe, having seen some of that play out in the US, that it is meant for movies and media and entertainment to transform because it can take you in that universe and make you feel like you can define what the universe around you looks like with the movie as a context. Our third way of thinking about immersion is messaging. And it's not something we speak about that much, but you must have started seeing OTTs as well as movies creating chatbots now where you can have an interactive experience talking about the movie. I remember there was a movie called, there was a show on Netflix called Gulab and Guns, and they had a beautiful chatbot which actually said that you provide a few wordings of the kind of love letter you want to write to someone you really like. And through ChatGPT as well as the chatbot, they will actually generate a love letter for you and then send it out to whoever you can. Now that makes you realize what are some of the elements of the movie, but you do that in a very different way. It's not an ad. It's actually a chatbot where you believe you are playing a little bit of a role in terms of defining what it means for you.
Anu, did you see Sora?
No.
So Sora is the new text-to-video product from OpenAI. When you hang around filmmakers, do they care about AI? Do they care about this new tech? Or they firmly believe that storytelling is and will remain something you do just by the traditional methods? Because I tried this yesterday. There's a tool called Ask PDF or Chat with PDF, where I uploaded Robert McKee's story, the whole book, and I had a 4-liner, and I said, using chapter 4, 8, and 12, can you turn this into a 1,000-worder? And I did it in 30 seconds. Like, do you know if writers and filmmakers are using this, or are they completely oblivious to it?
So right now, I'm not hearing, a lot of anxiety or concern. I think the anxiety and concern is still about Friday, chalegi ki nahi chalegi. Abhi conversations are still that. I'm not hearing people who are like, in the way that you hear in Hollywood, where so much of the strike was about, representation and AI and what can be used and what can't. At least here, the people I've been around, I'm not hearing a lot of sort of paranoia or nervousness about it. It's still about how do we get a star in the movie.
And you as a content creator, do you care about this at all?
I care about it. Truthfully, I'm afraid of it. I want to understand how we can optimize it. Because I can't imagine a world in which, sure, it will write you that 1,000-pager, but that 1,000-pager will be the same as what an actual writer would really create. Like, I refuse to believe that. It's just against my religion. I can't.
Something happened? Oh, I believe Raj and DK were supposed to join us. Oh, there they are. Hi. Perfect. Welcome.
Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, Raj and DK are here. Please give them a round of applause.
How are you?
Hello.
We'll create space.
Yeah, come. Please do join us. Perfect time.
This is good time because I was speaking on the behalf of directors. Now you guys can speak on your own behalf. Are you anxious about AI?
Yeah, we're discussing AI. Have you guys used ChatGPT to write the next season of Family Man?
Well, I started off with asking ChatGPT if I should. So I read the answers. And I don't know, I see your videos talk about AI a lot. I mean, I've just glimpsed through it. It's still a new technology. It scares every filmmaker out there. So right now, we have successfully used it a bit for our character sketches. Because we're creating a unique world. And we did look for a lot of graphic artists, but we wanted to see how the machines would respond to a very detailed character sketches. So we started off with that. It looks great so far. But
For one of the shows that's come out or something
Coming
that
out.
is expected to come out?
Not yet, not yet.
Yeah, it's on, it's on.
Yeah. So that's not exactly ChatGPT, but yes, it's another AI tool that
Mid-Journey? Was it Mid-Journey?
Midjourney, I think,
Midjourney.
is what everybody's using. See, we are people with a software background, so I'm quite ashamed to say that we still haven't caught up yet with it personally, even though our teams are using it. We've always been good about embracing technology. Like when digital was a thing back in early 2000s, we were like happy to embrace it. This is one thing where yet, we need to buck up now. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys before, which is that, you guys have been creating long-form content for, much over a decade now. And you have probably seen attention spans fall over the last 10, 15 years. Has that changed the way you approach writing a story, either for film or for a show? Have you guys thought about saying कि ये ज़माने में अब ये थोड़ा लंबा लगेगा, अब ये थोड़ा interesting नहीं लगेगा क्योंकि आजकल तो लोग रील देख रहे हैं?
Yeah, I mean, we're all watching reels. I'm very aware of doom scrolling. So, right, that's what the word is.
Yeah.
So, but I feel that the storytelling for a feature film or a series should be independent from what content people are consuming on social media, because that's just a different format altogether. And I think our brains are still wired to accept a long form story, either a 2-hour feature, 1.5-hour feature, 2.5-hour feature, 3.5 in terms of when it comes to Scorsese, and our shows. But for us personally, we started with The Family Man season 1 at 10 episodes. And the latest Citadel that we just finished is 6 episodes. So we are, I guess subconsciously, we kind of shortening the whole series itself.
Yeah, but that said, the pacing of an episode, I think we've always been conscious that just because it's long, you don't have to bore the audience or like say the same thing in a longer time. So I think the endeavor has always been to keep it, moving at a good pace, keep the audience engaged, be it a 2-hour film, be it a 10 episode, but you have to keep it moving. And then I don't think the actual length matters, especially in case of a series, because people are, they're supposed to watch it on their own time. So you only manage to watch 6 episodes and you still have 4 more to go. It's okay. You can watch it tomorrow, day after, whenever you have time.
And does the data that platforms give you now about regarding viewership, does that play into season 2, season 3?
They have these rules, right? Like platforms have these this amazing magical number called 42. If you read the Hitchhiker's the Guide to the Galaxy, right?
It's the answer to the question of life.
Yeah. Apparently that's the magic number, and apparently that's also the magic number in OTT streaming. 42 minutes is where the audience starts feeling fatigue. So if your episode lengths are 42, you're in a good place.
Episode needs to be up till 42 minutes.
It's up to 42 minutes is a good number for an episode.
The
Apparently.
optimal length.
But do you know how season 1 did? Do they share numbers with you?
See, there were only 2 metrics at that point, or in general, 2 metrics are shared in a way. It's how many subscribers join the service because of your show, or how many finish the show. So these 2 metrics, but we don't know the numbers. But at that time, we were told you were like the second most show on our platform, in a global platform, stuff like that. So that's all we know at that point.
Yeah, it's a relative numbers, because I don't think the numbers, even if they told us, hey, you got 10 million views, I don't know what that means. Unless you have a context to it saying, by the way, that other show had 12 million and you had 10 million and that's the biggest show in the world. So then it makes sense. So it's always relative.
Anu, there was something that someone had said back when short video was just exploding, right? Which was that as more and more creators converge on a platform, the effort put in on one unit of video that goes up on the platform keeps going up. For example, back in the day, it was just basic videos put up on YouTube, but now Mr. Beast is literally buying islands, right? Like that's the level of effort that has to go in. So similarly, since attention spans have gone lower, filmmakers will need to again start going towards the extremes to start pulling in people, which means we're going to see more and more provocative filmmaking. So where do we care about, rather, is the success metric of a film, should that have any morality included in it? Because it's just getting harder and harder to pull people in. So
yeah, it's a tough one. Tanmay, this is something I struggle with all the time. But for me, I'm against any kind of prescription for artists because it's a very slippery slope.
Yeah.
Once you say you can do this, but that is like dodgy morality, which we see all the time in movies across the board. But for me, I would never say that we need to have any kind of, sort of regulation in terms of what morality needs to be out there. I just hope artists are more conscious themselves about what they're putting out there. But it's really each man or woman to himself or herself. Yeah. You can't have rules about this stuff.
Do you guys care about? Do you guys care more about? Hey, this is what the story intends to tell. It could have, anyone can. It's because it's subjective. The audience can take whatever interpretation out of it. Do you care about that kind of thing? Which is this character seems too negative, but that's probably why they've become popular. Do you care about that?
No, I like to think at least that we are very responsible on that front. I'm not saying we just have to whitewash everything and show everybody as nice people, but at the same time, we are very conscious about what the message, even if it is a subtle message or an underlying message that we are putting in a film. Like if you want to say, take the example of Stree, the film. When we made, we had an underlying message about, it's a very feministic film. If you that's an underlying message, even though it's a horror comedy on the surface of it. Or Go Go Gone for that message, for that matter. I don't even know how many people got the message. There was an anti-drug message in it, hidden in it. So in that sense, we tend to be careful about what it is that we are telling, even though we're not doing it overtly. Usually we do it in a subversive or a subtle way.
I think we tend to, as filmmakers, we really just want to tell good stories and unique stories across genres, not just limited to one. That's how we start as filmmakers. So now we never wanted an agenda to kind of make our stories or shape our characters. You know what, I'm going to show this point through this guy, or I'm going to show this point through this character. Didn't really seep into us. So it's really telling the story from the story's point of view. At the same time, like DK said, I feel it's such a vast country with so many different audiences that you can do any kind of film, whatever you want, but you also need to know which audience are you targeting at. Are they going to get it? Are they get what you're trying to say in the form of art? Or are they going to misinterpret it? Or are they going to just take the superficial layer and get influenced by it? So there's a lot to it, I guess. So we have, like DK said, we have made movies about zombies to a guy fighting for the country. So it's really, and at the same time, trying to be a little more balanced in terms of approach than, like I said, anytime it colors, you have a specific point of view you want to really put across, I think it starts coloring your creativity.
Understood. Shweta, I want to talk to you about what are some trends you're seeing in terms of regional content? And do you see that trend going up and to the right further?
Yeah, so if I was to talk about regional content, Tanmay, one of the interesting things that's happening is there's no one audience. So earlier we used to say there's an audience sitting in Bombay which only watches Hindi cinema. There's an audience which is sitting in BKC which only watches OTT. There is an audience sitting in rural India which only watches vernacular. So clearly all those three spheres are intersecting and overlapping with each other. I, as an audience, for some movies might want to go to the theater. Some features I'm very happy to watch on OTT. I'm very happy to watch regional movies with subtitles because I have all that consumption available with me far more easily. I feel one of the things that's probably missing, and I see the regional movies doing far more of it, is being aware that when I go in and distribute my content, or at least create awareness of it, I need to be far more true about the fact that this audience could be anywhere. This audience could be actually sitting, as I said, in a big city or even in a smaller city. That messaging I see far more with regional movies. They do it far more smartly, both in terms of viral content, organic content, creator-led content that they do, than mainstream Hindi cinema, as much of. And it might be because that older definition seems to still ring true. I also see the same happening on OTT. Whereas it seems that if there is a big original title that's releasing, we believe it's only catering to NCCSA, which we believe rich audience basically. Those are the ones that will watch Prime Video, for example. So let's go deep on that. Let's increase the viewing time, which are good theoretical concepts. It gives great metrics to Raj and DK. But the reality is you're actually missing the opportunity that there is an aspirational audience which does want access. How are we creating that snackable content where I can go in, just watch the first episode. Who knows, I become interested enough to then pay for the second episode. So I feel like that modularity in terms of thought process from both the platforms as well as the movie industry is kind of missing. It's far more there with the regional cinema. They seem to be far more benevolent when it comes to defining their consumer.
Anu, because of streaming, we've certainly seen like this cross-cultural exchange of, hey, this is my shit that I thought was cool, now you are
All watching everything, and the truth is some of the best filmmaking and storytelling in this country is not happening in Mumbai. And that is so exciting. Have you guys seen Manjumal Boys?
I was about to go, I went for Brahma Yugam.
Which was so excellent. This is both Malayalam films. You know, just excellent storytelling. So I think it's such an exciting time for these walls to collapse, and these guys are the kings of cross-pollination.
correct. Do you guys think about this while you're writing the story, or if it comes at a much later stage?
For the first season, it was almost jumping to do it. Like in, when they said freedom, there's more freedom in OTT. The first thing we thought was actors from everywhere, languages from everywhere.
Yeah.
So I still remember when we finished the first season and the first, the whole Amazon, everybody was together. And one of the main guys was saying that the first scene of your show is in Malayalam, in season 1. And are you sure? Because people are going to be in a good way, like in a funny way, that they're going to be looking for subtitles, thinking, is it Hindi? What show is this? So they're going to be searching for, and that happened. That confusion did happen. People thinking, what am I watching for a bit? But then we thought it is OTT. At the end of it, I want to be free from the restrictions we had in the feature films, because you have to have certain parameters, certain packaging, whatever you call it, to put it in theaters. So we embraced it. In the second season, we start off with a Tamil scene completely.
Even the star cast, even the star. In the first season, it was like a 3-minute scene, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, people have to just be patient for 3 minutes." And then the Hindi comes and they'll know it's a Hindi show. Second season, it's like more like 9 minutes. But by now, hopefully, they know it's a Hindi show.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the casting that came with it. Language is one thing, but also the casting. Like, I mean, oh man, it's a gold mine of actors out there that you could get from all over the country to act in the show. And I mean, The show is better off, and we are better off for that.
Yeah.
And has it become easier to cast or convince actors that, now every show is effectively the whole country is the audience now, it's no longer language driven? Do they approach it as this is an opportunity for me to attract a fan base from a different part of the country, etc., etc.? Do they care about this stuff?
No, yeah, that's definitely happening. In fact, once Family Man came and suddenly all these otherwise unknown actors, like even a Samantha, who's a superstar in the South, was a relatively unknown face in Hindi, and suddenly she became a superstar in the country. So that happened. Now I think the films are doing it for themselves.
Yeah.
Especially the Telugu Tamil films, they are traveling across the country, so they're doing it for themselves, without even the language being thought about as a barrier.
Excellent. And hopefully that's the trend going forward as well. The whole country, everybody watching stuff together. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Anu, thank you so much. Shweta, thank you so much for joining us. And over to your next segment. Thank you, guys.